Hello YouTube, it's Rob here with Elder Oak Productions, bringing you another beer review today. And as you can see, we're at our craft beer reviewing desk, and you might notice something very different today. And well, one thing is that Jack here is in a different position, but the thing you really might be pondering is why does Elder Oak have these precisely 5 Townhouse original light and buttery crackers? Why does he have them on his desk? And the reason why I have these here is because we are doing a comparison review. 2 beers, 2 reviews, a comparison. And today could have been a great, and it could have been a fantastic episode for a St. Patrick's Day special. But what can I say? It's not St. Patrick's Day. I got the idea around St. Patrick's Day. However, we're doing it now. We're not going to wait a whole nother year to get to St. Patrick's Day. So today we will be reviewing 2 Irish stouts. One is O'Hara's Irish Stout from Ireland, brewed in Ireland, and of course, the classic, the epic, the cascading creamy beverage, the creamy nectar, which is Guinness Draught. Now, I have had both of these beers. I like them both. We have the palate cleansing crackers here for the comparison review, and we're going to see which one does Elder Oak, which one does Rob like the best. So, the Guinness needs some time to settle, and the O'Hara's doesn't need any time to settle. But, so we're going to move the O'Hara's out for a second. There you go. Other side of the desk. The invisible side of the desk, where all of the storage for these videos is kept. The glasses, everything else, the opener, behind the scenes. Okay. So the Guinness, I'm sure that many of you have had Guinness before. It's a classic beer. It's in the style of an Irish dry stout. Its alcohol by volume is 4.2%. And the brewing notes, the notes that I found on the Guinness website say that it is a liquid that gives you sweet, countering bitterness in every sip. And the website also claims that there is a sweet-smelling aroma in this liquid with a coffee, malty nose, and it has a sweet, creamy, and balanced flavor. So, we are going to take a glass. And I actually looked up the video where Fergal Murray, the master brewer at Guinness, showed people how to pour the perfect pint of Guinness from the can. So what we do here is we snap open the top, release the widget. That's perfectly normal. But I'm going to sip off that foam a little bit. What that is that's the widget activating, which gives you a pour like you would in a, it gives you a pour that you would get in a bar. So, Fergal, the master brewer, I think that's his name. I think it's Fergal Murray. Fergal says that you should leave this for 5 seconds. So, 1, 2, oh, that's 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds, Fergal. Take the glass. You tilt the glass towards the beer. And you pour it in softly and slowly. And once the beer gets to the middle of the glass, you want to straighten it and lift a little bit. there. Pour the rest in. Get some foaming action going on. It's gonna pour all over my desk eventually, right? That's good. So that's the Guinness pouring. Now we can't drink this right now. We have to allow it time to settle. So we'll move this to this coaster. I like coasters. I love coasters. Whenever I have friends over, I say, friends, you need to use some coasters. So this is gonna settle. I don't know if you catch on the computer's camera, but it has a cascading effect that cascades all the way up the glass, and that kind of gives it that more pub flavor right off the draft. So, glass number 2, and in this glass, the O'Hara Stout will enter. The O'Hara's Irish Stout, it's brewed by Carlow Brewing Company in Ireland. Again, it's an Irish dry stout. It uses, I got some specific hops with this one. It uses Fuggles hops, and the malts, they use a, quote, pinch of roasted barley. The ABV is 4.3%, and the stout of the O'Hara's brand is the flagship of that brand, and the brewers claim that this beer is how Irish stouts used to taste. So they have like a traditional, more authentic flavor. And this beer was first brewed in 1999, and since then it's been awarded prestigious honors for quality and authenticity. And I'm going to pour this because my Guinness, I think, is just about finished settling. So I kind of want to get this in the glass and not lose that head for the Guinness. So just a standard pour for this one. It's generally the same procedure. I want to lift it slowly. And now pour it in. That's a nice, you could just tell, look at the difference between those heads. This has a nice kind of really caramel head. It looks so cool, the O'Hara's. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shuffle this over and review the Guinness. But the creamy head is nice. It's pretty much off-white, but close to white. As you can see, the O'Hara Stout, the head is very thinning. It's now about half a pinky. But you can just tell a difference in the heads between the two. And so let's go ahead and give this a smell. It has a sweet aroma. It smells like Guinness. I'm sure you know what the Guinness smells like. A sweet aroma with a hint of tartness in the aroma. It kind of smells like it tastes almost. It's one of those things. Clearly just a black color, but if you hold it to the light, you can see shines of ruby coming in. A really clean smell. I just smelled the I smell tartness. I smell a bit of sourness. That's the aroma I get from it. Some sweetness, a little bit of that roasted malt I get. So, we've had this many times. I think it's time to just drink it. Now, the master brewer at Guinness, I've seen him on a TV show called Oz and James say that you're supposed to put your elbow up like this when you're drinking a pint and bring it to your mouth and have your lips penetrate the creamy head on top to get to the liquid, the black liquid. So that's what we'll try to do. Classic Guinness flavor. Tons of roastiness. Tons of a huge roasted flavor. The mouthfeel is creamy, but it also on the back, it's creamy on the front of the throat of the tongue. But as it goes to the back of the tongue, and then as it starts to go down the throat, then it gets kind of more of like a watery flavor. There's a tartness to a Guinness, and that tartness is coming through right now. The sides of your tongue are tartness and sweetness. The front and back are bitterness, and it's a balanced experience in your tongue. It's like a scientist put together a mathematic algorithm together to attack your tongue in different areas with different flavors, and that's what happens with this beer. Oh, it's a good beer. It's Guinness. Let me bring the O'Haras in. The head is dissipated. Now, the reason we have these crackers here are to now cleanse the palate from the Guinness. So, I want to eat this Townhouse light and buttery cracker. My palate now being cleared, it is time to partake in the O'Hara's Irish Stout. Give it a smell. Pretty much totally different. The aroma that I'm getting off of the O'Hara's Stout is more of a smoked barley. I get that roasted aroma in the beer, the same roasted aroma that you get from the Guinness, actually. That is the only thing that connects them, that roasted aroma. But this roasted aroma is much more prevalent. This roasted aroma also has a very distinctive caramel candy corn, kind of caramel popcorn kind of scent to it, aroma to it, which is really lovely. I could smell a good amount of smokiness from the roasted malts. I can definitely smell like caramel. It's a really delightful smell, and it's a really delightful, aroma to take in before you drink that pint. So we'll go ahead and give this a taste. I would say that there is more bitterness in the O'Hara's dry stout than in the Guinness. There's definitely a stronger malted, roasted malt flavor and smoke flavor. There's hints of smoke in here, as if I was smoking ribs on a smoker, or a brisket on a smoker. There's hints of that here. The brewer's notes that I wrote down includes that the brewers say that there's a robust roast flavor in this beer, that it's full-bodied and smooth, and it also they also say that it has this light licorice kind of flavor. Definitely more full-bodied than the Guinness is. It has a definite, it does have a more robust flavor than the Guinness. It's a little bit more well developed. They say that the brewers claim that there's like a light licorice taste to it. I taste the licorice very, very, very lightly at the end as an aftertaste. But I would call some of the aromas that I'm smelling off this beer, I would say that's, that is where the licorice comes in the aroma. Not much caramel flavor. I know I said that there's lots of, caramel candy corn kind of aromas from this beer, but the flavor hasn't really come in. If so, it's a very, very mild. And the brewer's notes, they also said that there's also like a tart espresso kind of flavor and bitterness from this beer, which I think is spot on. I think that is a spot on analogy. even like at this point where the head is kind of dissipated, if you make espresso really well and you have a machine that makes it well, you're gonna get kind of like some foam on top of the liquid of an espresso, just like this. It looks exactly like this. Um, and you know, it is a strong espresso flavor in this beer, and tartness. There's some tartness. This is a really great beer. This is the only thing wrong with this beer. I want some more sweetness because it's pretty bitter. It's not on the level of IPA bitter or German Pilsner bitter, but it lets you know. This beer lets you know that there are Fuggles in this brew. It lets you know that there's some bitterness, there's some hops in here. And with all that great caramel aroma, I kind of want some of that caramel sweetness to come into the flavor of the beer itself. But I really enjoy the smoked flavor and the roasted flavor that kind of counteracts just the straight bitterness. So I'll take one more sip of this O'Hara Stout. When I was taking this last sip, I took I smelled a little bit of the aroma with my nose, and I got just like a kind of like a Tootsie Roll and almost like a Nutella kind of aroma from it, which was actually really pleasant. So I'll set this off to the side. Back to the Guinness. The head on the Guinness is still here. It's still that same kind of half a pinky head. The only thing that is really common with these two beers is that they have that dark Irish stout color. They also have an element of roasted barley in both the aromas and in the flavors. And smelling this Guinness again after recognizing the aroma from this beer, from the O'Hara's, there is a touch of smoky aroma in here, and kind of that tartness in the Guinness, and that aroma, and that kind of sourness of the Guinness. I think now that I've had like the fuller, now that I've had the stronger smoky flavor in this beer that gives it tartness, in the O'Hara's that gives it tartness. Now I'm smelling and tasting the Guinness again, and now I'm saying, okay, the sourness and the tartness in the Guinness is kind of like a more mild version of what is in here, and that's a more mild smoky flavor and aroma coming from the Guinness. And in the Guinness, there's no aroma of caramel. It's just that very, very light smoky aroma, that tart aroma, and that barley aroma, that roasted barley aroma. Yeah, coming back from tasting the Guinness and then tasting the O'Hara's is a better way to go because the Guinness is it's a little bit lighter bodied. The mouthfeel is thinner, and the back of and at the back of the tongue and at the back of the throat, you do get a much lighter flavor from the Guinness, and then this comes in and this overpowers the Guinness after you taste it. So I could taste the O'Hara's after I drink the Guinness, but once I drink the O'Hara's and then go back to the Guinness, I feel like I'm jumping from like a Samuel Smith Nut Brown Ale to a Weinstephaner, German style Pilsner. I like both those beers very much, just like I like these. But that level of the body and the fullness of the beer is so different that going back to the Guinness after the O'Hara's, it diminishes the flavor of the Guinness and the body of the Guinness. And that's because the O'Hara's is so nicely full body. The O'Hara's tastes like the craft beer here. The Guinness tastes like the more mass-produced beer here. And I'm not insulting Guinness. Just because O'Hara's is more full body doesn't mean that and tastes more craft doesn't mean that it's better than Guinness. I like these beers both very, very much. I wish the O'Hara's had some more sweetness in it to balance out that bitterness, but I love the full-bodied malt. I love that they're going for the malt. I love they're going for the smokiness from the malt. And I do love the Fuggles that they used. The Guinness, I love Guinness. I just wish it was more full-bodied. But it's a classic beer. So that they're two very different takes on the same style. Again, they're just threaded together by that roasted aroma and that roasted flavor. Again, I like them both. I think, honestly, I would choose the O'Hara's over the Guinness if I had them side by side in a bar. If both of these were on tap, I think I would go with the O'Hara's. Just because I really like that. I'm a malt guy, as you all know, and I really love that the O'Hara's Stout it just went for the malt. It shows you. It says this is the malt. This is what an Irish Stout tastes like, and this is we're going for it. We're going for the malt flavor, and this is why I like the O'Hara's. Honestly, I think this is the better brew between the two. So, I believe we have said that all needs to be said. I have chosen the O'Hara Stout as my favorite, but you should try both of these great beers and decide for yourself. And as you noticed, Elder Oak today did not use a wine glass. Today we had pints. We had two proper Irish stouts here. I said we cannot put Irish stouts in a wine glass. We can't be too fussy with the Irish stouts. They deserve a nice sturdy pint glass that you can hold in your hands. So that's the review for today. Today we had a comparison review between the Guinness Draught, the classic and delicious Guinness Draught, and the fantastic craft O'Hara's Irish Stout. Here's another look at those bottles. The O'Hara's, my number one choice. The Guinness, my number two choice. Both very good. Both I will buy again and again and drink. And that has been our review for today. So again, this is Robert Elder Oak Productions. We will see you very soon in the next video. Have a great evening or whatever time you're watching this. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.